Here is the strange truth about money growth that nobody warned you about. You can grind for 5, 10, even 15 years, and your account barely moves. Then, suddenly, somewhere around one odd number, around $100,000, everything feels different. That is the moment your money finally starts working harder than you do. This video is about that exact turning point. Because right now you might have $3,000 in a savings account, or maybe $15,000 spread across a few investments, and it all feels painfully slow. It feels like no matter how many hours you work, you are stuck on the same flat line. By the end of this video, you are going to see why the first $100,000 is not just some cute quote. It is the cliff edge where the entire game changes. And we are going to walk through it with Harry. Harry does not wear a suit to work. He is a licensed electrician. He spends his days in basements, crawl spaces, and noisy construction sites. His take-home pay averages about $4,600 a month, depending on overtime. He is not reckless with money. But for most of his 20s, he was not serious either. Here was his pattern. Every month, he would promise himself he would start saving for the future. He would move $300 into a savings account, feel proud for a week, then pull half of it back out when his friends planned a weekend trip or his car needed a repair. On good months, he ended with maybe $800 going into a small index fund. On bad months, he added nothing at all. By age 31, after almost a decade of working, Harry had just over $9,000 invested. $9,000 after nearly 10 years. He looked at that number and felt something between shame and numbness. He had worked thousands of hours. He had climbed ladders in the rain, crawled through attics in the summer heat, and dealt with clients who treated him like part of the drywall. And for what? $9,000. One night, sitting at his kitchen table, he did what you have probably done. He opened a compound interest calculator on his phone, punched in a hopeful rate of return, and watched the line on the screen crawl upward. Even with optimistic numbers and decades of time, it seemed like he would never reach the life he wanted. He closed the app and thought, maybe this whole investing thing is just for people who already have money. Then, a week later, something changed. On a lunch break, Harry was scrolling through videos when he heard an old quote from a legendary investor. The first 100,000 is a worry, but you have to do it. After that, you can let the money work. He replayed that line in his head all day. It annoyed him at first. 100,000 sounded impossible, but then his brain grabbed onto a different part. You have to do it. Not get rich, not be a millionaire. Just hit one clear number. Build the first $100,000 by sheer force. After that, the rules would be different. That night, Harry grabbed a notebook and wrote on the first page in big letters, Project 100,000. No fancy goal boards, no vague, financial freedom quotes, just a number and a project. Then he did something most people never do. He separated his feelings from the math. He wrote down his real monthly take-home pay, $4,600 on average. Then he listed his actual expenses, not the ones he pretended he had. Rent and utilities, $1,200. Truck payment, gas and insurance, $650. Food and groceries, $450. Phone, internet, and basic bills, $200. Minimum debt payments and small obligations, $300. Total, $2,800. That meant he had around $1,800 every month that was not locked into survival. Yet at the end of most months, his bank account did not show $1,800 of extra. It showed almost nothing. So where was it going? He flipped through his last 3 months of statements and felt sick. Random lunches and coffees on workdays. Extra tool upgrades he did not need. Nights out where the tab slid past $100 without any real joy. Streaming services he forgot about. In-app purchases on games he barely played. Tiny leaks. Not one giant stupid purchase. Just 37 different I deserve this moments each month. Harry circled the total of those leaks. On average, around $1,200 a month. That was the gap between his life and his potential. He made a decision that night that changed everything. For the next 5 years, he would treat his first $100,000 like a brutal apprenticeship. His job was to send as many dollars as possible into that project. The market's job would come later. He set 3 simple rules. Rule 1. lock in a base payment to his future. He set up an automatic transfer of $750 from his checking account into a broad market index fund the morning after every payday. Non-negotiable. That money left before he even saw it. Rule 2. Cut the leaks, not the joy. He did not swear off every latte or every night out. Instead, he picked the 3 things that genuinely made his weeks better. Friday takeout with his partner, 1 coffee at his favorite cafe after long jobs, a low-cost gym membership. Everything else in the kind of nice category was gone. Rule 3. Every extra dollar became a soldier. Over time, weekend jobs, tax refunds, selling old gear in his garage, even small cash gifts. Every unexpected dollar was no longer fun money. It belonged to Project 100,000. Month 1 was uncomfortable. He cooked more, scrolled less, and said no to 2 invitations that would have pushed his card into the red. But when the month ended, he had moved $1,180 into his investments. $9,000 grew to just over $10,100. Not a miracle, not a life change. But for the first time, he felt like he had pulled a real lever, so he kept going. Month after month, he treated his contributions like rent owed to his future self. $750 from automation, $200 or $300 from leak cutting. Whatever overtime he could grab. By the end of year 1, he had added roughly $13,000 in fresh contributions. The market had been mild, adding around 7%. His account balance sat at just over $23,000. Now, here is where most people get discouraged. $23,000 is still far from $100,000. The effort felt huge. The number still felt small. Harry felt that too. There were nights he looked at that balance and thought, I sacrificed all year, and I am still nowhere. But he reminded himself of the rule of the first 100,000. This part is supposed to feel unfair. Right now, you are dragging the snowball uphill alone. The slope is steep, and the snowball is tiny. The point is not the size yet. The point is that you are building something that can finally roll on its own. Year 2, Harry's habits hardened. By then, he did not think about the automatic $750. It was built into his life like paying the light bill. He had also found a small side income rewiring old houses on occasional weekends, which added another $300 to $500 in many months. His average monthly contribution rose to about $1,300. That year, the market went through a scary dip, then a solid recovery. Harry resisted the urge to tinker. He did not pull money when prices fell. He did not chase hot tips when prices rose. He just kept feeding the pile. By the end of year 2, he had contributed around $15,600 more. His account, thanks to those contributions and the recovery, sat near $42,000. Again, the voice in his head whispered, still not enough. But something important had shifted. In year 1, almost all of his growth came from his own deposits. In year 2, the market added a few thousand on top, without asking Harry to climb a single ladder. For the first time, his money had done some work while he slept. Year 3 is where the story really turns. Harry's life looked very similar on the surface. Same truck, same job site, same early alarms. But under the surface, the math was changing. He had negotiated a small raise by taking on more responsibility on complex jobs. His side work had become more consistent. His contributions hovered around $1,500 a month. That year, the market delivered a strong return. Again, nothing crazy or magical. Just the kind of double-digit year that broad markets hit sometimes. At the end of year 3, Harry sat down with his notebook. Total new contributions that year, about $18,000. Total balance on the screen, just past $69,000. Over $20,000 of that jump had come from growth, not new money. Read that again in your head. In 1 year, his money had produced more than he had managed to save in entire earlier years of his life. The snowball was still not at 100,000, but now the hill was tilting in his favor. In year 4, the gap between his effort and his results got wild. His habits did not change much. Around $1,600 a month went in, another $19,000 or so for the year. But the starting balance was now large enough that even a very average market year could move the needle by thousands. By the end of that 4th year, his account had crossed $100,000. He remembers the exact morning. It was a rainy Tuesday. He was sitting in his work van, warming his hands on a travel mug of coffee, killing 5 minutes before walking into a job. He opened his investing app out of habit. There it was, 6 figures, 100,000, 300 something. He had expected to feel euphoric. Instead, what he felt was this deep, quiet click in his mind. Up until that moment, he had been the main engine. His choices, his overtime, his discipline. Now, for the first time, he knew the next year would look very different even if his life did not change at all. Why? Because the math had shifted. A 10% year on 100,000 is 10,000. A 15% year is 15,000. Even a rough 5% year is 5,000. Those numbers were now in the same range as his annual contributions. That meant his money was finally matching his effort. This is the secret nobody explains when they throw around the phrase, "Let your money work for you." Before 100,000, your money is not really working yet. You are training it. You are stacking it. You are proving you can be trusted with it. After 100,000, regular market growth in decent years becomes visible. It feels like somebody added an extra month or two of pay into your life without adding hours to your week. That is why the first 100,000 is when it really begins. So what should you do with this? First, stop judging your progress by what richer people have. If you are early in your journey, your job is not to feel rich. Your job is to build the pile that allows compounding to show up. That means you measure success not by how impressive your balance looks, but by how consistently you add to it. Second, turn your first 100,000 into a clear project, like Harry did. Give it a name. Project 100. The first 6 figures. Whatever makes it feel real. Then set a time frame that makes sense based on your income. It might be 5 years. It might be 10. The exact number matters less than committing to the path. Third, accept that the early years are supposed to feel slow and unfair. That flat feeling you have right now, that "what is the point" voice, that is not proof you are failing. It is the emotional tax you pay before compounding arrives. Fourth, marry boring mechanics. Automatic transfers the day after payday. A simple, diversified investment choice. A habit of throwing every extra dollar into the project instead of lifestyle creep. No constant tinkering. No chasing miracle stocks. Fifth, watch for the turning point. You will know you are getting close when a single year of market movement adds as much to your net worth as your own saving did. When you start saying, "I put in 12,000 this year, but my balance grew by 20,000. That is your sign that you have built something real. And when you do finally cross that first 6-figure line, remember Harry in his van, staring at his screen in the rain. The big feeling is not, "I am rich now." The big feeling is, "I am not alone in this anymore." Your past self is now a partner. The money you already saved is doing invisible work every day. The next decade no longer depends only on how many hours you can trade for wages. So tonight, grab a page like Harry did. Write where you are. Write the number you are aiming for. 100,000, or the closest version that fits your life right now. Then stop waiting to feel ready. The climb to the first 100,000 will not feel glamorous. You will get bored. You will get tired. You will question whether any of it matters. But if you stay with it, there will come a year when your money grows by more than you contributed. Then another. And one day, you will open your account, see that 6-figure balance, and realize something powerful. The real journey did not start when you hit 100,000. It started the night you decided that you would drag